Hi, can everyone hear me okay? Thanks for staying to the end. As you guys were just told, I'm Meghan Taylor, VP of Brand and Creative at Freshly. I have actually spent, up until about 3 months ago, the whole of my career at creative agencies, so I'm much more well-versed in giving presentations like the last one than kind of talking about subscription services, but this has been a really interesting journey for me to understand and see the other side of brand building, going from kind of helping my clients build their brands and understanding their businesses to actually being the one kind of making the decision and building the brand. Freshly is a life-ready food delivery service. We deliver chef-prepared meals to your door via subscription. They're all made to be much better for you. We have a list of, I think, 82 banned ingredients, and everything is a lot more healthy, also gluten-free because one of our founders is celiac. So we definitely have benefits in both convenience and health. We just recently, as of January, went nationwide, so we're in 48 states. But we're at sort of an interesting inflection point because while we've managed to grow the company via performance and a subscription model, where the heavy lifting is now needs to be done really is in building that brand and kind of creating that brand affinity. So as you were told, I'm going to talk about the business of subscription and how to deliver value beyond convenience. I always think it's important to think about and kind of really look at the definition of the topic that we're discussing. So the actual definition of subscription is the action of making or agreeing to make advance payment in order to receive or participate in something. And I think we focus a lot, and when you think about subscription, you focus a lot on the idea of receiving something, but I think that element of participating in something is more important today than ever. It really is about delivering an experience that is beyond what actually shows up at your door every week or every month. So, you know, when you think back to kind of talking about dairy, the milkman, this is sort of like the first example of subscription services. You paid your milkman and your milk showed up every day on your doorstep. But what's interesting to think about here is that it probably wasn't about convenience. It probably was the only way to get milk back then. But what started there really has kind of proliferated into every aspect of our lives. So it's everything from clothing to personal care to vitamins to pet care, I mean, to food. The list goes on and on and on. And if you think back to kind of the first versions of subscription, you subscribe to a service like Amazon. So you subscribe to Amazon and then had products delivered to your door. But with the advent and kind of proliferation of direct-to-consumer brands, you really are starting to subscribe to a specific brand for a specific experience and a specific product. And this is everything from brands like Harry's for razor blades, Carob for vitamins, Stitch Fix for clothes. Like, I never thought I'd be subscribing to just have clothes show up at my door. It's kind of a dream come true. You know, even to like toothbrushes from Quip. Even really to our dinner table. It's interesting to think about high involvement categories such as, you know, what you're going to feed yourself or your family and what you're going to cook, just sort of making that decision a week in advance and having it show up. And this really happens via meal kits like Blue Apron and HelloFresh, where they deliver ingredients and then you cook them, or life-ready meals like Freshly delivers, which takes sort of all the work out of meal prep. It's just, it shows up, you heat it for 3 minutes and you can eat it. So it offers ultimate convenience and health. So now that we've looked at what, I think it really is important to sort of understand why these subscription services have become so prevalent and really starting to find a lot of success. And there are two reasons for this. One, it really makes sense from a business perspective. Having a subscription-based business allows you to have predictability and reliability. You know what your revenue is going to be, you know how many people you're going to service that month, what the orders are, and you can plan very far in advance. But the other side of that is that when someone signs up for a subscription, they're giving you a lot of information. So unlike them picking your product up from the shelf, when they sign up for you, you get probably their email, maybe their phone number, a lot of contact information, and you can really start to have that direct conversation with them that builds loyalty from almost day one. But this model actually makes even more sense for consumers, especially when you look at kind of the state of our world today and how we behave. I think all of you would agree that we are probably overwhelmed by the amount of choices we have, especially at the grocery store, to the point where we're starting to suffer from analysis paralysis. I read this really interesting study that said one particular grocery store had 285 varieties of cookies, 75 iced teas, and 175 salad dressings. Like, I find it hard to believe that we actually need that many options, or that you could even probably try that many options. And what's interesting here is that while we might all think that we like having choices, having that many options makes us actually less happy, because you kind of make a decision and then spend the whole rest of the time thinking about what your experience with the rest of the products might have been like, and you sort of feel like maybe I didn't make the right choice, I'm not really sure. You also kind of put a higher expectation on yourself and the product, because there's a lot of importance on that decision that you made. And you end up kind of being less satisfied, not only with the product, but also with your decision. If the product isn't good, we blame ourselves, like, well, I just made a poor choice among all the products I had available to me, and then you're inevitably less happy. Second to that is personalization is expectation. We all want personalized experiences. We want to feel in control of our lives. I think it really is part of this idea of information overload. It's really nice to feel like something is tailored to you, that you don't have to think about it, that it kind of filters out all of the noise, and you feel like, okay, I know this is for me and that I'm going to like it and it's going to make sense for my life. And it really kind of gives us sort of a metric for kind of engaging with what may or may not be relevant to us. And then lastly, we're kind of multitasking on autopilot. I don't know about you guys, but my life is super chaotic and maybe more chaotic than ever. And I actually just read an article about how our attention span has gone down like, I don't know, 2 or 3%. It's, I think, something like 12 seconds, which is insanely short. And we kind of find it impossible to focus on one single thing at any given moment. So we're probably like doing one thing and thinking about something else, and maybe not doing either thing particularly well. So there really is this tendency and desire to want to automate our life. Kind of like the less we have to think about or remember, the better. Which makes subscription services really, really attractive. They sort of remove that idea of any sort of decision making. Like, I make the decision one time and I really sort of never have to think about it again unless something goes wrong. So when it comes to meeting these needs for consumers, there really are two models that subscription-based companies can employ. The first really is this idea of set it and forget it. So if you think about low involvement categories like toilet paper or paper towels, some other food products, it's sort of like the ultimate convenience. You go in one time, you're like, send this to me once a month or every other week. It shows up at your door. You don't really think about it. You kind of maybe don't even necessarily care about it. That is until something goes wrong. Your order doesn't show up on time, or the product doesn't perform how it had in the past. And then you probably like walk away. And secondly, is this idea of seamless reordering. And this is what we use at Freshly. A lot of other meal kits use this. And also clothing brands. But this really is about asking the consumer to come back once a week or every other week to kind of re-engage with their product offering. So for us, it's like pick your menu. We provide a new meal once a week, so we want people to come back. We want them to look at our menu. We know that we see a lot of drop-off because of lack of perceived variety. So having them come back regularly to see what's new, to see what else we're offering, really is important for retention and getting them to continue to engage with our brand. This model, though, makes the holistic experience like really, really important, because if there's any friction, like they got the email to change their menu late, or there was something wrong when they went to log in and the page didn't load right, it's easy for them to sort of just say, I don't want to deal with this anymore, I'm tired of kind of engaging with this, and they sort of just immediately cancel. Both of these models rely heavily on retention, and it really is pretty difficult to win back customers once they've left. So your product doesn't sit on a shelf, so it's unlikely that they're going to be at the grocery store picking something out and run across you. So you have to actively go and win back those consumers when they leave. So you want them to stay. And the only way to do this is to make your brand really sticky. So it's not about just like locking them in and holding them hostage. You want them to want to be there, and you want them to continue to come back to you. And there really are two ways to do this. One we just talked about, which is about brand affinity and brand love and building a strong brand. And I think this is something that many CPG brands get really, really right. I think we all sort of have a love for brands and we know what we like, but when it comes to the D2C space, all of these brands are pretty new, and I wouldn't say that any of them have built like a really, really iconic brand that you just sort of irrationally love and would never walk away from. But the importance of brand and brand love within this space is that if you think about kind of, you've ordered something, it shows up at your door, it's a total mess, the box is ripped, the product is maybe torn open, it just kind of looks messy. You've already made a judgment about what's inside before you've even tried the product. It could literally be the best product ever, but because it looks like no one cares, you probably don't want it anymore. But if you think about someone with a strong brand, you know their mission, it comes to your door, there's maybe a personal note, you know who's behind it, you know what they stand for, you start to feel like they care about you and they care about the experience that you're going to have with their product. And before you even tried it, you have an affinity towards it, and you're likely to continue coming back for that experience that the brand provides. The other aspect of this really is content. So I think we've all probably heard ad nauseum, content is king. But it really is more important than ever for D2C brands, because this is the intangible thing that you can offer outside of just the product that shows up at their door. So this is what creates that idea of simplicity, of personalization, of automation. It's how you make the consumer feel like you understand them and you know them and you can provide everything that they might want from you. So, you know, I think what we think a lot about at Freshly is like, people can go get food anywhere. But what we're trying to get to is a place where they come to us, we get information from them, we start to help them track their nutrition intake. If they're on a specific diet, maybe we're helping them meet that goal. We're starting to collect maybe what they're eating, what their family's eating, what time of day they're eating it, and then providing tips, recipes, maybe offers, partnerships with other brands that they can engage with, and it starts to make them feel like this product and this experience was made just for them. And while yes, they can go anywhere else and buy food, they could go to the grocery store, or they could order from a meal kit or any other service, they feel like if they do that, what they're leaving on the table is actually a way bigger loss than what they gain by going anywhere else. So at Freshly, we're really starting to focus on how we can build up a more holistic multi-channel content approach to create that back and forth and continued engagement with our customers. So, net, I think what it's important for all of us to remember is that when it comes to subscription services, convenience really is table stakes. You can't rely or rest your hat on that anymore, because I think we can get convenience anywhere, and there are many, many competitors within this space. So providing actual sustainability as a D2C brand in a subscription-based service really is about delivering more than just your actual product to people's stores. So I think I got done a little early. I know it's the end of the day, so thought I wouldn't keep you, but any questions, comments?
Any questions? I've got one question.
Yeah.
In terms of customer service, how do you keep your customers that satisfied? Is it like an Amazon model where someone can call up, they email, whatever, no matter what?
At Freshly?
And then does that get labor intensive as you scale?
It is like that, and we actually place a lot of, there's a lot of pressure on our CX team. You can call, you can email. We actually recently launched a pilot, it's called Freshly Plus program, which offers actually a dedicated line and a dedicated person and email for someone to be able to reach out to us. And I think that It probably does get harder and harder as you scale, but the importance of it means that you can't let that intensity and that pressure override like how much that matters to a consumer. Like if they're able to get someone on the phone and talk to them and get the help they need, it goes a long way in getting them to come back. And the other thing that we're exploring really is how do we add more value within that? So is it instead of only talking to a customer service rep, do you talk to a nutrition expert or a wellness expert or a coach of some sort to get more specific and personalized help related to your specific issue?
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.